Well, good Taco Tuesday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. Today, the Dallas Cowboys actually the players have their day off. They are into the normal workout schedule where Monday is basically film study, treatments and things. Tuesday is the players 1 day off. They don't have a weekend, they have 1 day. Wednesday, they'll get back on the field with probably a padded practice Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday could be a padded practices, but usually it's only one. Friday, as Mike McCarthy likes to have, is a recovery day. So it's kind of a walkthrough. Saturday's a walkthrough and or travel day. And Sunday, of course, would be the game on a typical week. And the Cowboys are now in that set. You know, it's funny because I'm a creature of habit, okay? I get into a rhythm. In fact, I will say I could probably never work for an ESPN or anything like that, because what happens for me is I come down here, I do the same thing, and a lot of people say, you need to change up what you do in the morning. You know, I come down here, I take a sip of my coffee, you know, I turn on the lights at that certain moment. I start with, you know, I don't even know what I start with because it's literally like a habit. Whatever it is, it gets me into the mode, and I literally just start talking. I don't have a script. I don't have somebody that's speaking in my ear telling me this, that, and the other. It's just basically the news that I've gotten, and I just spit it out. And a lot of times when I get done, I don't even remember what the hell I said. It's funny because you get into habits and you get used to doing things. And so I just got a text message from brother Roz. Shout out to Roz. You know, Roz is been great because Roz has taken over for Stewart completely on running the fantasy football, and we have 6 leagues. In fact, tonight we have another draft at 8 o'clock with it. But Roz has been doing, you know, all the work, all the emails, coordinating and things, picking for my team and stuff. And so shout out to him. But he's like, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. Where's my video? And I've heard from people that kind of like, you know, I start my day with my morning cup of coffee and I watch Joe Boo Sports Report and, you know, start my day. And when I don't get it out before a certain time, sometimes people will text me and say, are you okay? Because they're worried because it's become a habit. So let's get to it this morning. All right. So the Cowboys have coaches are getting together. They're making their final game plans. Tomorrow they'll start implementing it and seeing what exactly we're going to do. And I'm getting a da-da-dunt, da-da-dunt. This is almost funny. Shout out to Damn Gina. Jerry Jones was asked about Tom Brady's dealing with distraction. He notes he always wants his team to be in the news. Visibility is important. Okay. All right. That's interesting because I was going to save that for later, but I saw an interesting article, and you don't know what to believe. You know, it's real easy to fabricate a story and people will see it and then there's no ramifications. People will literally make up stories and lies and tell them out there. And because there's so much news that goes on, you never know. There's never a fact check. And people then start believing stuff. And that, sadly, is the world today. It used to be a better time when you actually could believe what you were reading, but you have to look at everything with a side eye now. But I saw an article about Tom Brady. Basically, part of the reason why he had to take those 11 days off was Giselle was pissed about him unretiring. Giselle, you know, and I can't believe that she's taking care of all the family tasks and stuff, but, you know, when are you going to do this around the house? And I'm kind of like, as much money as they have, you know, why don't you have a guy to do stuff around the house? I get taking the kids to school or family trips and stuff like that, you know. So supposedly Tom Brady basically said, this is it. This is the last year and things. And, of course, I got shit to do. And I wonder if this year is the swan song. I'm surprised we haven't seen like the Kobe Bryant World Tour to end his retirement, that, you know, to begin his retirement. If the distractions on here is his heart really into the season? Is this I'm trying to go out like a bang, or let me just get this thing over with? Because, see, all of us, I'm an older guy. A lot of the guys in here are older guys. And we know the old saying, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And it doesn't matter how much money and fame you have. If you don't have peace at night when you hit that bed, it ain't no fun. And maybe he has distractions. And for the Cowboys, this is Tampa Bay week. This may be their last opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys to beat Tom Brady. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have their issues. But before we get into those, we got all the rest of the week and stuff in here. Let's look at what the Cowboys have done. Something I probably 4 years ago would have never believed would ever happen is Mike McCarthy coaching the Dallas Cowboys and Jason Peters on the Dallas Cowboys. This is almost crazy to even fathom at the moment, but heck, it's happened. Mike McCarthy is here. Jason Peters is here. This is 40-year-old self who is now practicing with one practice under his belt with the Cowboys. He's not going to be ready for a couple of weeks. We are going into this with Tyler Smith as our starting offensive tackle. As most people and forecasters have said that the Cowboys offense is going to take these major steps back. Well, you're number one. You had nowhere else to go but backwards. If they take a step back, and let's say they're still a top 10 offense, and their defense takes some steps forward, and let's say there's a top 5 defense, that's still a recipe for a team that can be pretty good. And if you look around at the talent, everybody's focused in on what the Cowboys lost. We lost Amari Cooper. I get it. Amari Cooper's a good receiver. DMV will disagree with me, but it seemed like a lot of times you would have great Amari Cooper and then you would have checked out Amari Cooper. After COVID, for the most part, last year, Amari Cooper kind of was checked out. And you could see that the Cowboys offense was going away from him. Right or wrong, the process of playing without him began then. And you could see in his body language, you could see in the way he was acting in public, that he was already beginning to distance himself as well as the Cowboys. And sometimes you do have to make changes. Just because somebody is a great player doesn't automatically mean he's going to be great for every place. We've seen that over and over again. It's how you fit together that really makes a difference. I'm sitting here looking and saying, yes, we lost Amari Cooper. But see, we gained a young, fast, little tiny guy in Turpin. And he is going to help in a multitude of ways. If the Cowboys can get an extra 5 yards punt return, it's better field position. It's a little more momentum. You see a great run, it fires people up. It gets people excited. You remember seeing Dak Prescott in the middle of an interview, seeing Turpin running all the way back? You see the excitement and okay. That fires up a team emotionally. He's also going to be one of those gadget guys. We had gadget guys before like Lucky Whitehead, but nobody with the speed and the ability that this guy has already shown. You use him on reverse. You sometimes use him in the slot. Sometimes the Cowboys will have 5 wideouts. He'll be one of them. Good luck at covering Tony Pollard, Turpin, CD, Michael Gallup, and Jalen Tolbert. Good luck with that. So you're going to see some different things from the Cowboys. And Jake Ferguson, I will look and say that is a major plus. I know he's a rookie, and you're like, the guy hasn't even played a game yet. But from what I have seen of him, his blocking ability, which is something was missed last year with Blake Jarwin getting injured by week 4. He has a pass-catching ability to become a security blanket. You look at our tight ends, all of a sudden our tight ends are better than what we've had collectively, maybe ever. We're actually going to have 2 good tight ends. And people focus in on the wide receivers almost too much in my mind, because you can look at almost all of the last 10, 12 Super Bowl teams. all of them had great play from the tight ends. Last year we got better play, and it helped us tremendously. You saw the amount of yards that Dalton Schultz had. You now have another guy that can complement it. And you also have these guys now, because Dalton Schultz has also ended up putting on a little bit of weight. He's got a little bit better at his blocking. You can also help to negate some of the loss with Tyron Smith with those two tight ends. You can also help your offensive line by using that 12 personnel and using different types of formations with it. You can end up making the defense guessing, make them think that you're running the ball when you're really passing. You can make them think you're passing and spreading them out when you're really running the football. And these are things that are going to be on Kellen Moore to be able to do things. So I believe that the offense is going to be better. But, of course, every day out there, the shows always talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the NFC East and who's going to win it and stuff. I don't know why that the other divisions don't get the love like this, that we're not constantly talking about the AFC West, which is probably the best division in football that's going to be a dogfight. I'm surprised that we don't talk about the NFC West, of course, with the defending Super Bowl champions that are there. And, of course, the Cardinals with Kyler Murray with his new contract and things. And, of course, the 49ers with possibly a quarterback controversy and who's going to win that one, or even the NFC South that, is Jameis Winston the guy that's going to actually, really step up now for for the Saints to be able to overtake Tampa Bay. We always, every single day, talk about the Cowboys. But I hate to say it, I believe the Eagles just got the kiss of death. Let's listen here this morning, and I'll explain what I mean.
I think the Eagles are staring at 7-2 to start their season. And if one of those wins is against the Cowboys, they could bury Dallas before they even get to November. And then if that happens, boy, it's going to get awfully louder on Mike McCarthy in the state of Texas. Ooh. What do you think?
I'm not going to give you the Bart Scott treatment that I just gave, but I will say this. You better be cautiously optimistic here, all right? Cautiously. You still got – Jalen Hurts has got to prove it. This is a great offensive line, great defensive line, great rushing attack. Can they, if they get behind against teams or they struggle early, can they come back and put up points offensively? That would be my question. So Jalen Hurts is going to be kind of your thermostat, right? If he goes, they go. If not, you're going to have issues. I'm letting you know. You're discounting the Vikings, the Cards, the Steelers. There are still some teams in there that could give them problems because they can make it physical type teams. So the 7-2, I'm not 100% against it.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Two of them will beat the Eagles. They'll split the tough ones and they'll win the easy ones.
Well, the Cowboys have put on a pretty good 5 of 6 as well. So let's not just walk all the way through this. There's a reason we play some. I mean, I know he covers them. There's a reason we play some.
What do you think, Buck?
Listen, the Eagles are trending in the right direction. This is a quarterback user-friendly type.
We haven't played a game. What are you talking about?
But one thing we know is for sure, that offensive line is the most physical offensive line in all the games.
Agreed.
And now you have a quarterback that can add to the running game, that led the league in rushing last year. Now you can go out and you give him 2 weapons on the outside. If you dare creep that 8th man in the box, you got one-on-ones on the outside with Smith and Brown. Should be barbecue chicken. Listen, this team takes the wheel from you. I'm telling you, Jeff Friday. Brady is on one today.
Listen, I agree. The offensive line, they were 9-7 with the best rushing attack last year. Yep. So let's not get like we're going to stamp 13 wins to this football team right now because of their schedule. You still got to go play him, and he's got to make those throws to those studs on the outside.
Graziano, are they barbecue chicken?
I don't know what that means.
I don't even know what it means.
It's hard for me to say.
But I liked the question.
But yeah, look, I think they're a good-looking roster. I think I think they're really good-looking roster on the defensive line. They have a lot of good pieces. But I think Jeff is correct that it's about the quarterback. He's a young player. Young players still make mistakes. I don't think it's going to be – I hear great things about Jalen Hurts and where he is and what he's doing. I think he's going to show improvement this year. But I think that's a stretch to say 7-2. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're 9-7 last year. The Cowboys demolished the place.
Yes.
Here's what I will say.
Washington's a division game. You're going to just pencil.
They have Carson Wentz.
They
Oh,
got the better
man.
part of that. Here's what
I
would
love
say.
that.
I understand that Jalen Hurts is a question. No one could dispute that. But there's something about that kid that makes me feel like his answers are going to be yes.
100%.
There's something about him,
100%.
going back to his day, the way he handled the Alabama situation, everything else about this. I believe in the kid.
And they're not asking much.
Not necessarily in year 2 as a starter, right? Because there's going to be ups and downs with young players.
He's handled a lot of nonsense awfully well.
I am not throwing my guy under the bus. But we won 11 games with Mark Sanchez.
Yes.
And this is
yes,
very
you are. You're
similar.
throwing him under the bus.
This is very
somebody
He just threw him under the bus.
Under the bus.
No, I love you, Mark. You know I love you, man. But this is a very similar roster. This is complete. They had issues on the back end. They went out and go get you know Bradbury to kind of shore that secondary up. This offensive line, I watched them just take the manhood from people. They move people against their will, Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, let's just live in a world for a moment, though, if I may, where I'm closer to right than wrong. And the Cowboys, who have the absolute opposite, their beginning of their schedule is brutal. And that Week 6 game against the Eagles
is enormous.
If they're hovering in the area of 2-4, and one of those losses is in the division to a team that's up and away, what's that going to sound like around? That's the Eagles' first. Look at who the Cowboys have to play. They've got Tampa, the Rams, and then the Eagles. If they lose that Eagles game, they're probably staring at 2-4, or could easily be. Let's put it that way. Then what's it going to sound like in Big D, Jeff Saturday?
Straight panic. There'll be a lot of panic going on.
Let me ask you this. What might Jerry Jones say in his own inimitable way if that's the way things are going?
Say, man, way we're playing's got me lower than a crippled cricket, boys. Jerry's got to see something better from you, man. Let's make it. But I have heard those words to the ear. I have heard them spoken.
And then look, Dan Quinn is in the building. The guy he wants to be his coach. And the guy he
wait a minute, it's Dan Quinn that he wants to be his coach now?
So what's the question? What are you asking?
What's it going to sound like in Dallas if my scenario comes true?
You're asking me if he's going to fire his head coach before the end of the season.
Yes.
I say no. He's done that exactly one time, and it was 12 years ago, and they were 1-7. They had just lost at home to the Jaguars. It was a complete disaster. I think if they're 1-7, if they're 2-9, if it's an embarrassing failure,
that would be the only way.
Yes, but I don't think that's where this Cowboys team is headed. They had the opposite of the Eagles offseason. They lost guys that they probably need. The Eagles went out and got guys they need. I like the Eagles to win the division. I love Jalen Hurts' trajectory, all that stuff. But I don't think the Cowboys are going off of a cliff. There are enough good players there and enough really good players. And the quarterback is excellent. And I think the wide receiver is excellent. Micah Parsons is excellent.
It's a mandate,
I think
Jerry put a mandate out there. He said that we need to go deep into the playoffs.
This
and
is
if
true.
you're 2-4 and look like you're going in the wrong direction, you got to shake it up sometimes.
Not in the NFC this year.
Okay. So the kiss of death for me is Mike Greenberg, who is literally on the bandwagon for the Eagles. Let's listen into what happened last year.
Fitzpatrick going to the Washington football team here for a moment. And let's bring the group in, if I can, Allie, because I want to present this to everyone. And if you listen to my radio show, then you have heard me say multiple times, some team in the NFL is going to sign a quarterback who was much better than anybody realizes. Over the last 3 years, Ryan Fitzpatrick has a higher completion percentage than Tom Brady, more yards per attempt than Russell Wilson, and a higher QBR than Deshaun Watson. He hasn't been the same Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, Fitztragic that he has been through so much of his career. And you put him together with that defense, Ryan Clark, I'm looking right at you. The Washington football team is definitively the team to beat in the NFC East. No ifs, ands, or buts. What do you do? Change my mind if you want to.
These are lies you tell.
These are lies
Greeny.
you tell.
Listen, when you look at this team and you look at Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think we fall in love with him so much because we just enjoy watching him play. And he plays extremely hard. And he was on a team that we thought was tanking for Tua, and he actually made them competitive. He starts 4-3 last year, but it's still Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's still a guy who doesn't win playoff games. It's still a guy who doesn't have overall winning seasons on a consistent basis. And so I don't necessarily think this puts them above the Dallas Cowboys, who now have a new defense with Dan Quinn, who are now.
Well, so there's that. the kiss of death of Mike Greenberg. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on there. And they're right. The Cowboys, we definitely have a tougher schedule to start going down the stretch. But the teams that we're facing early are a lot of teams that the Eagles are going to face late. But what will be key is we will need to beat the Eagles early in the season. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because if they do get that, then they do have the shot of just rolling right into winning the division. But I'm not ready to give up on the Cowboys like a lot of people. I'm not ready to go ahead and say, it's time to pack in the season and we haven't played the first game. And I'm not going to be one that thinks that the Cowboys, at the position that they are going against Tampa Bay, doesn't have a chance against them. So we'll see. We'll see where we go. And with that being said, you know how we roll. And Roz, here's your video, buddy.
Our folks here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
One hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to